your team. You can have a team meeting on this if you want. All right.
Because we
So
have the other
January,
videos, so yes, thank you.
yes, we'll put this out so people can watch this with their teams. So this is a January study club on canceling the cancellation. It's a very popular subject. That's why we do these at study clubs. And there is a way to improve our results. And also we're going to try first is to cut our costs in half. So we just figured it out. An hour a day in hygiene per hygienist, 4 days a week, $33,000 a year cost to 35. So if you have 2 hygienists getting that, it could be like up to $70,000. If your doctor's getting a half hour of open time a day, that could be as much as $55,000. If you're getting like an hour a day, it could be somewhere around $100,000 cost of lost time. Okay. So the next question was, whose fault is it when there's a cancellation? And we joke and say, whoever happens to pick up the phone. No, it's everyone's responsibility. And so what we want to do is use verbiage that makes it so that patient never thinks it's okay to make that phone ring, to never do that, to show up for their appointments and believe in it. So I want to start with hygiene because hygiene it's so much harder to get the patient to see what we want them to see, to hear what we want them to hear. And doctor will kind of fall and play with some similar things, okay? So the first thing that we want to do is use the right verbiage at the end of today's hygiene visit by the hygienist to show why keeping the appointment's important. So there are no cancellations. So what we do is we understand 2 things first. There are 2 reasons why patients cancel their appointments with you. Lack of urgency or value, and they'll say something like, it's just a cleaning, right? And number 2 is they don't understand or respect your time or your schedule. And that's why they say things like, I don't know what I'm doing in 6 months. Just put me down for something. If it doesn't work, I'll let you know. Does that sound familiar? Okay. So we're going to negate those 2 things from ever being spoken in your office or have a rebuttal to them so the patient goes, oh, okay. And they understood it. Okay. So we use a 4-step system, very simple to do. And it's all focused on creating urgency and value and teaching them how to respect your schedule. Does that make sense so far, guys? All right. Awesome. You guys this is probably the smartest group you've ever had, doctors, in here. This is the group right here. I can tell they're all on board with it. I know we said that last time, but this time we really mean it, right? This is the group. Okay. All right. So number 1 on urgency and value, it's called reason for return. So doctors, in your hygienist clinical notes, there should be a line that says reason for return or reason to return, something like that. What do you guys call it? What is that? How's that in your clinical notes?
Next visit.
Okay, next visit line. And so sometimes you'll see next visit line, it'll say 60 minutes and 6 months, prophy.
Yeah.
Now that's a prescription. That's not a diagnosis. That's not a reason for return. That's a prescription pad. Sometimes I've seen it reason for return and then the next visit line. Now you can just do the next visit line, but there has to be a reason why you're prescribing something. Before you can prescribe, you must first what? Diagnose. So we need that diagnosis in there first. That's what the patient's coming in for, not the prophy. Get away from, well, what do we call it? Recare, reactivation or continuing care or preventive maintenance or hygiene visit or clean. What do we call it? Well, it's different for every patient because everybody has a different reason why they should be coming back in 3, 4, 5, or 6 months. Okay. Does that make sense so far? So in that reason for return, to create the urgency, we do a reason for return conversation. If I was the hygienist, Dr. Barrett, you're the patient. Okay. You're Charlie. Okay. I'm going to call you Chuck just because you're a different person now. You're a patient. Okay. So Chuck, I know that earlier you and I talked about how concerned we both were, just helping you maintain your health and staying on top of things and making sure nothing progresses in there. And I know we talked about you were having sensitivity on that upper right area, right? And so I'm assuming that you're concerned about that enough to make sure you want to stay on top of it and let nothing progress and get worse. Is that fair?
Fair.
Okay. So in that case, my recommendation is that we see you no more than 6 months from today. Right at that 6-month mark, we can stay on top of this. So how do you feel about going ahead and getting that appointment scheduled right now with me?
Yeah, I'd like to.
Okay. So now I'm giving him purpose and reason for return. I'm expressing that. Now he's been hearing all those things through the appointment. It could be maintain your oral health. It could be inflammation. It could be calculus buildup. It could be crowding. It could be that area that doctor wants to reevaluate, whatever it is. But that's what I'm going to address there. So I said, I'm concerned about something. I'm assuming you're concerned about it too. Great. Therefore, what's the therefore? Therefore, my recommendation is we see no more than 6 months from today. How do you feel about going ahead and get that appointment scheduled? Notice it's not a yes or no question. That's very important. Because if they're not in and you say how, you're going to get more words.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know what I'm doing in 6 months. I don't know if I can schedule that right now. Okay, I don't think you understood what I just talked about, Chuck. You didn't get it. Something I'm doing during that hour-long appointment isn't resonating with this patient, or they just don't care. Is that fair?
Yeah.
All right. Now, remember I said 4-step system. That was step 1. That just deals with urgency. Now we're going to move into them valuing and respecting our time and how we schedule. Okay, to first understand this, you have to understand their perspective. They're not in dentistry, okay? When you are a doctor, you are lumped into a group of individuals who, from a patient's perspective, you're lumped in, who in their mind all schedule the same way. You guys know how a chiropractor schedules? They might be 10 or 15-minute appointments, just boom, 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 right? 2 chairs going, just put them in, okay? They honestly don't care if you reschedule, just that gives them a breather. Optometrists, they have a lot of different rooms going at the same time with different types of clinicians to help you in different ways, okay? They only have as much rooms as patients. They can't put 2 people in different rooms, right? So physicians, so they might schedule more like us, but still a bit faster. And then physicians, anybody know how like your family physician schedules their appointments?
Yeah.
Say that again. How do they do it?
5 at a time.
5
5 at a time.
5 at a time for about 10 minutes at an appointment. 10, 15, 20, depends. So I've heard anywhere from 30 to 50 patients an hour for a physician if they're busy. Do they care if you cancel? No. And the patient feels that. They know that. They're waiting so long for the appointment, right? My physician's a little better. I think he's about 2 patients every 10 minutes. So he's seeing, what's that, 12 patients an hour, maybe 15? That's probably on the pretty healthy side. They're not even taking new patients. You can't even get a primary care physician in our area right now. So they've hit maximum capacity. The reason for that is it's so cheap to get in to see a doctor. They have to see so many people per hour just to generate enough. If you ever looked at one of your EOBs, they charged me $227 for an exam. It was a $180 write-off. Then I paid a $20 copay and my insurance paid $27 or something like that. I don't know how that's why they got to see so many patients. Okay. So we have to understand that your patient's frame of mind, as far as they know, is it's just like that. So you now have a new rule. You teach them how to treat you. We teach people how to treat us. That's a common phrase. We're going to do that in dentistry. We do that through these 4 steps. So number 1 is reason for return. Number 2 is on this side on scheduling. That's called reservation, not an appointment. So we're going to stop saying things like, all right, you're all set. We're going to see you in 6 months. March 3rd, 3:00. We'll see you then. You're all set. Have a good day. Bye. My tone of voice is wrong. What I'm saying is wrong. You're all set. If you can wait 6 months for it, you can wait 7 months for it, 8 months for it. That's not what we're doing. Instead, reservation, not an appointment, is 3 simple steps. You say, I'm going to be reserving this much time for you, an hour, so that you get the best care possible. I use undivided attention, highest quality, and then we make a request. What we ask all our patients for help with is to keep the schedule in place, and to be fair to everyone, making sure that you also schedule an hour of your time just for me. Does that sound fair? So I use that word fair a lot. So I just say, Chuck, I'm going to be reserving an hour of my time just for you in 6 months so that you have access to my undivided attention for a full hour. That way I can provide you the best quality care possible. That's a real passion of ours. In order to keep doing that, we make the same request. We ask for the same favor from every single patient. Could you please, and would you please hold an hour of your time in your schedule just for me at that time? Does that sound fair to you?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm just changing their mindset on how we schedule. I might even have my Dentrix HIPAA view up where I've got all my slots with no names on it. And I'll say, you can see today, I have 8 hours, I have 8 patients. That's all I can do. That's all I can see. So it's essential that we get this right. Okay. Now, Third step, also on the scheduling side, is anybody's hygienist department or hygiene department booked solid for more than 2 months? Like you can't find an opening for more than 2 months? Okay, yeah. We're seeing a lot more of this. Everybody else, just pretend you raise your hand and you say the same thing, okay? Because what we see is open time goes way down when we do this well. So I say part 3 now, Chuck. I say, Chuck, I want to give you a heads up on something. Right now, it's about a 2 to 3 month wait, depending on what time of day you want to get in for an appointment for us for a hygiene visit. So it is essential that we get this right the first time, so that you don't end up going 8 or 9 months in between visits. And then you remembering that I talked to you about reason for return just a few seconds ago. And now you got this. Now I'm connecting length of time to keeping the commitment and how I schedule. I'm telling you, it's an hour for an appointment and it's 2 to 3 months to get in. All right. Now, ladies, I do this. I actually, right after this, I go get my hair cut. I get my hair cut every 5 to 6 weeks, maybe. My guy is booked out 8 weeks. So I have 2 haircuts already scheduled. Okay. I got this one and I got one in, I think early or late February. Okay. Ladies, anybody go to the hairstylist every 4 weeks? You make sure like you're there every 4 weeks. Okay. I knew it. I knew you were going to do that. You're probably every 7 days.
Every 3 days.
Every 3 days. Okay. Yeah. Most women, and myself included, because of my guy, I do not miss that appointment. I do not want my hair looking the way it looks at week 6, 7, 8. It just kind of gets all crazy. You can't tell on Zoom. You probably can't tell. I think the camera adds 10 pounds, but my head is huge. My head is absolutely huge. And so if I let my hair grow, it just gets really, really big and puffy. It's not a good look. All right. So people know that if it's something that's important to them, reason for return, and it's a long wait, they prioritize that. And what we hear on the stop cancellation call, when we tell them it's 3 month wait to get in, oh, you know what? I'm going to cancel this other thing. I'll come in. But they got to value it first. Then they got to respect the schedule. So I do reason for return, reservation on appointment, and then I do that's called massage therapist, not the chiropractor. Massage therapist. The massage therapist will tell you, I'm booked out 4 to 6 weeks. You know, they're hour and a half appointments. You know, I really need to schedule this for a time that works for you. The chiropractor will say, yeah, it works for you. Yeah, they're just 15-minute appointments. Oh, if you need to cancel it, let us know. You get a text message from it. It says, do not call our office if you need to it says, do not respond to this text message if you need to cancel your appointment. Instead, call our office at this number. Press 1 to confirm your appointment for tomorrow at 3:00. It's like their verbiage is just focused on they must get so many cancellations. Stop trying to text us. I texted you I couldn't come, right? That's what they were getting. Why didn't you show up? Well, I texted you I couldn't come. They had to put it in their text messaging system. So be like the massage therapist. Explain how long it is, how hard it is to get your appointment in for an appointment. That will help them keep the reserved time. Now, fourth and final appointment is step is called Atomic Habits. It's from a book by James Clear. Anybody read that one?
On my list.
It's on your list? Okay. If you want my Cliff Notes, just email me, eric@allstardentalacademy.com, and I'll send you my 18 pages. And then if you really like it, you can read the book. So in that book, he talks about it's like a triple blind study of people on getting them to show up for what they said they were going to show up for. And I won't bore you with all the details. I'll just give you the really good part. They got a 91% improvement in show up rate, okay, when the person said when they were going to be there. So Chuck, I'm going to see you March 3rd at 3:00. I see you putting the appointment time in your phone there. I see what I have here in my Dentrix scheduler so that we make sure we're on the same page. Share with me when you're going to be here for your appointment there, Chuck.
March 3rd at 3:00.
Man, 10 points. You're doing great. You're paying attention to everything. You're so studious. I love it. That's exactly what I have here, Chuck. We're on the same page. And psychologically, I'm creating an advantage. I'm just improving my odds. So that's the fourth and final step. You ever have a patient show up at the wrong day at the wrong time in your waiting room, your reception area, and your team members looking at them and they're looking at the schedule and then they're looking at them like, I know that person, but I don't have their name in the schedule. Can I help you? You know, we call their name out when they walk in because we can see their name on the schedule. But when everybody's checked in, somebody else walks in, you're like, what's happening right now? Can I help you? Remind me your name again. You know, this starts to get really real. Now our true color is shining through. And they put something in their phone. I've done it. I put 3:30 on a Monday for an appointment for my daughter for a cleaning. And at 3:05, Heidi at the dentist's office was saying, "Hey, are you and Naomi on the way?" I go, "Yeah, we're leaving any second. I have us down for 3:30. She goes, "No, you confirmed 3:00 on the text message." Well, I didn't read the text message. I just saw the date. And I said, "Yeah, I know I'm going on Monday." And I replied, "Why?" I didn't go verify it. I don't have that much time to do that sort of too busy. I don't care enough. I don't know, something. So you want them to replay back. And we used to do this with the written card too. They'd go, "Oh no, you gave me an appointment card. See, this is when you told me to be here." And it was my handwriting telling them to be there at that time. And that's not when I had them. I had them the next week or something. I wrote down the wrong date. Okay. Oof. That was always rough. So I always have them repeat back to me when they're going to be here. Does that make sense, guys?
Yeah.
Okay. 4 simple steps you can do. Now you think about it, hygiene, it's the hardest sell. It's just a cleaning. I can wait 6 months for it. I can wait 7 months for it. Okay. If you use these 4 steps consistently on every single patient, you will see a significant drop in people who call to cancel your appointments. I had a client the last quarter of last year, phenomenal hygiene department. They're in San Jose, California, a very, very, very busy area. 0 open hours in October, 0 open hours in November, 0 open hours in December. 3 months in a row. I'd never seen anything like it. 0, 0 for 3 months in a row. That's pretty impressive. And I think that's probably a lottery type experience, you know, struck by lightning type thing. But we still want to see 5 hours or less per hygienist per month in that hygiene department opened, lost time due to cancellations. All right. Now, you can take that same verbiage and put it in the doctor side, right? I'm getting ready to schedule something for Chuck, my operative appointment, and I do reason for return. You know, Chuck, I know doctors really concerned about that tooth in the upper left and getting it taken care of before it turns into a toothache. And I'm assuming you're really concerned about it and you want to get that scheduled, or I know that already. I know you want to get that scheduled. They told me that. We go over finances and everything. And then I say, I'm going to be reserving an hour and a half of my doctor's time just for you, so you get access to his undivided attention, the highest quality care we can provide. What I need your help with, will you do me a favor? Please hold an hour and a half in your schedule just for us. Does that sound fair? All right, great. Keep in mind, my doctor's booking out 4 to 6 weeks right now for appointments. And I want to get this taken care of you before it turns into a toothache requiring a root canal. I don't want you to go 8 weeks, 12 weeks in between appointments. So we got to get this right the first time. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. And I schedule it and I have you repeat back to me when we scheduled it. Atomic habits. So 4 steps: reason for return, condition, diagnosis focused, reservation, not an appointment, tell them how long and how hard it is again, massage therapist, and atomic habits. You do those 4 things consistently with every single patient you schedule. I promise you, you will see a significant reduction in the number of cancellations you have. Even if you already have very little now, you will see fewer. Now, some people are getting cancellations, but they're backfilling them. It's such a long wait. You get this huge waiting list. You just feel really good about it. And it's this rat race. Your admin team is constantly on the phone and they're just filling holes, filling holes, filling holes. And by the end of the day, it looks pretty good, but they're sweating, they're exhausted, they're grumpy, and they don't really want to talk to you about an end-of-day huddle. Okay. They just want to go. Okay. And I won't have you raise your hand if you're in that position. Okay. Because this is being recorded and I want to protect the innocent. All right. So here's the deal. I don't want the phone to ring. That's why we do prevention. But if it does, we have defense. What do we say? What do we not say when we get a cancellation call? Because depending on what way you go here, you can perpetuate more cancellations from that person. Let me tell you a story. So my kids all went to the same orthodontist. My daughter now works there as a sterile tech. We had 3 with ortho there. And before he was a client of mine, I was sitting in the reception area. It was about 4:30 in the afternoon. And I can hear, this is a former employee. I can't remember her name. We'll call her Betty. And she's calling household after household after household at 4:30 in the day to try to fill an adjustment opening they have the next day. Now, the good news is not a start. It's, starting ortho, it's an adjustment. So trying to move patients up. It's just an adjustment, right? And she's calling household. She's leaving messages, talking to people, and I can hear her. And she's saying things like, "Hi, Mrs. Jones. This is Betty calling from Dr. X's office. And we have an opening in our appointment tomorrow. And I'm wondering if you want to bring little Billy in a week early." "No? Okay. We'll see you next week." And she'd call the next household, do the same thing. We had a change in our schedule tomorrow. We have an opening tomorrow. And so what was she telling all those households that was going on?
It's
It's okay to cancel.
Yeah.
It's okay to cancel, because if you ever need to cancel, I'm your man. I'm going to put someone in your slot for you. And you'll hear patients say this. Oh my gosh, it's a 3-month wait, and you're putting them out 3 months, right? And they'll go, well, if you get something sooner, will you give me a call? And we go, okay, I'll put you on my, what do we say?
Cancellation list. Yeah.
And what does that tell people?
It's okay to cancel.
We have so many people, we have a cancellation list. And so it's perpetuating it. It tells them it's okay. We have a whole list. It's okay. And you get messages on your voicemail like this. It's 7:30 in the morning, right? Ricky Bobby calls up and goes, hey, Dr. Barrett's team, this is Ricky Bobby. Hey, I have an 8 a.m. with Virginia for my hygiene appointment. It's 7:30. I want to give you plain notice. That way you can put someone else in my slot. I'm not going to be able to make it today. So get somebody else a call. They can have my slot. I'll give you a call back to reschedule. Thanks. Bye. And we're getting that message at 7:45. Nobody's coming in for that, right? They don't know how we schedule. So to stop that, we're going to say something totally different. We no longer have a cancellation list. We no longer have an ASAP list. We no longer have a quick fill list. None of that. We don't even have a list. As far as they know, we do not have a list. Now, we're going to have a list, but we're not going to tell them. Instead, I would say something like, oh, yeah, listen, Chuck, I know it's important for you to get in sooner. Totally. Let me talk with Dr. Barrett and Virginia, and let me see what we can work with the schedule. And when we add some days or do something to figure out a way to get you in sooner, okay? I'll give you a call back soon, okay? And then I get a cancellation, and I call Chuck back, and I say, Chuck, hey, we had a cancellation. No, you don't do that. I call him back up and say, hey, good news. I talked to Virginia, and I was right. She was really concerned that you were scheduled out 3 months. And so she said she'd be willing to see you tomorrow at 2 p.m. if you were certain it would work in your schedule. Can you do that? And so we call it willing to see you. And you're eliminating that rat race from the verbiage. Now, can they see through it? Can they tell that you had a cancellation? I don't know, maybe. But I'm definitely not going to offer it up. It's a slight change verbally that completely changes the psyche of the patient to understand what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. I'm teaching them how to treat me. So does this make sense so far, guys? There's a key verbal skill to helping prevent future cancellations. Okay. All right. Back to defense. So we get it. We do all these things. We do it really well. And Ricky Bobby still calls to cancel. When we interview potential, so we have a whole hiring division, okay? All-Star Dental Academy's hiring division run by Robin Reese, who's an amazing HR coach. They find employees, they do Zoom interviews, they get them to your office and everything so you can hire, okay? And they do that nationally. And the number one response we get from this question, when we're hiring admin, we say, how do you handle a cancellation call? And they 100% of the time always say, oh, I always make sure I get them rescheduled. Now, what answer are we looking for?
They don't cancel.
I always try to make sure I can stop them from canceling first before I just reappoint. And what we've learned is there's one most common word used when somebody calls to cancel. It's 2 letters. You guys know what it is?
No.
I wish. The patient calls up and says, oh, they say this, oh, I'm so glad you called me. I was just getting ready to call you. No, you weren't, you liar.
Yeah.
You know what? That tooth, it's not even bothering me. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel that appointment. Or it's just a cleaning. I need to move it out. And the number one response our dental team member says, 2 letters. Do you know what it is?
Okay.
Okay. Well, let's find something else for you. It's the number one response. Our fear of rejection in that moment as the administrative team member is so high, we're not willing to say no. Okay. Now, I'm not saying we say no, but we can say no in a certain way. You follow? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to drop the K. And we're just going to say, oh. And I want your tone of voice to be like somebody just broke up with you on the phone or by text, right? Because that's what they're doing. Instead of we have this great customer, oh, okay, well, let's find another time. Don't do that. You say, oh, well, is everything okay? And they say, yeah, it's not you, it's me. Okay, hold on one second while I get your chart. Whatever excuse they give you, it doesn't matter. You put them on hold and you go get their chart. Now, we used to go get the paper chart off the wall. Now we just pull it up on the computer. I put them on hold. And what I'm doing is I'm not making it easy. I don't want them ever to call me again and do this. I may not be able to stop this one, but I'm going to prevent them from ever wanting to do this ever again. This is going to be a nightmare for them. Now, I'm going to be friendly about it, but they're not going to want to ever go through this again with me. They're on hold. They're waiting for me. And I'm looking for two things in their chart. Do you know what I'm looking for?
I know.
Infection,
Okay, reason for return. And what was the other thing I heard?
Diagnose.
Okay, diagnosis. So the reason for return, you guys are on top of it. This is a smart group. And have they ever done this to me before? Frequency of offense. Okay, so let's assume it's a first timer and I've got a written chart noted reason for return. And I pick up the phone. I say, Ricky Bobby, thank you for holding. I was just looking at Virginia's notes and I could see here that she was concerned about the inflammation and bleeding in your gums the last time you're here. And that's why she recommended we see in exactly 6 months. Now, the reason I bring that up is our next available opening is about 2.5 months from now. I know she'd be really concerned if you were to go 8.5 months in between visits with her. Are you, and this is the key part, are you certain you can't keep this appointment today? No, I only get one shot to go ice fishing with Bubba. This is it, right? Or you hear him, hold on, Bubba, I can't go ice fishing with you. I got to go get my teeth cleaned. Okay. I don't know what they're going to say. 50-50 shot. They say, no, I'll get fired, or no, I'm sick. I've got COVID, whatever it is. All right, well, let's do this. Let's find a time you know you can commit to in the future so we make sure we don't go even further out in between appointments. Does that make sense? Or does that sound fair? Something like that. Then you get them scheduled. You do your either or thing and you go back to reservation, not an appointment, have them repeat back to atomic habits. All of that stuff's being done again. Okay. Now, let me say something. If my hygienist 5 months and 30 days ago did not say reason for return, reservation, not an appointment, all those things, when I do it on the phone, they're going to go, what are you talking about 2.5 months? What are you talking about inflammation in the upper right? What are you referring to? Why would you say that to me? I just talked with a hygienist who does anesthesia for the doctor today. And she was going in to numb, I'll just use regular language for us, going to go in and numb the patient today. And he's like, what are you doing? She goes, I'm going to get you ready for the doctor to come in to treat this tooth. He's like, he said it was going to be really easy. Why would you need to numb me if it's going to be really easy? You see what's happening? Doctor is trying to make him feel comfortable. It's going to be really easy and straightforward, and it's a symphony, and it's a beautiful thing. And then we got to deliver the bad news later on. We can't do that. We all got to be on the same page. So if the hygienist is saying, oh yeah, we'll see you in 6 months. It'll be great. We'll have fun talking about our trips. That's fine, but there's got to be diagnosis and time associated to it so that when I argue for that as an administrator, we're on the same page. You guys get me?
yes.
Yeah.
That will be ineffective if we don't plant the seed first. Okay. So I get them reappointed out, 8 weeks, 10 weeks, whatever it is. And at the end of that, they go, oh my gosh, 2 months from now, if you get something sooner, will you give me a call? Oh, well, because the schedule is so booked, we really don't get people canceling their appointments anymore because it's so far out. However, I know this is important to Virginia. Let me do this. Let me talk to her about her schedule and what's going on. I'll let her know what you said, and let me see what I can do. I'll give you a call back in the next couple of days or so. Then I call them back and I do willing to see you. All right. Does that system make sense? So you have prevention, 4 steps. You've got oh, not okay at the phone call. It's called oh, not okay. And then you've got willing to see you. Now, what I find most team members do is they listen to this. They start this for a little bit, or maybe they disagree with something I say, or they might be uncomfortable with it or whatever. And it starts to fade. Well, know this, in hygiene today, you're getting results based upon what you were saying 6 months ago in hygiene. So to get better results, you've got to commit to this at minimum for 6 months. And it's probably more like 12 to 18 months. And then by then it's forever. In James Clear Clear's book, Atomic Habits. You won't need to read it after this meeting. He calls it I think he calls it the 91-9 rule, 91-9. So Charlie, this is different than what we grew up with, but he says 91 days to firmly create a habit.
Yeah, I just heard 66 the other day. It was 21 when we were.
Yeah. Well, so what it is, it's a minimum of 21 days in a row just to get initiated. Then you see this number go up because it all depends on so many different factors. What is the habit? How, let's say it's quitting smoking, right? If it's starting smoking, it's pretty quick. But if it's quitting, it's much longer, right? So 91 days to firmly commit to a habit, only 9 days to lose a habit. Because of the 91-9 rule. So your team has to do your hygienist got to do 4 steps to prevention, 91 days. Every single patient, 8 patients a day, got to say those 4 steps to prevention. Doctors, assistants, same thing. Admin, use that same verbiage. And then it's ongoing forever. And what we think is, oh, it's a broken record. Right? It's a broken record. We just keep saying the same thing. Nobody's listening. We keep getting cancellations. No, that's because you were doing that before. You were doing something different before. Those aren't your results from what you're doing now. Don't get discouraged. So every day, commit to this is how we're going to say it. Role play it, practice it, get your text messages to say the same sorts of thing. Raise your hand if you're getting cancellations by text message. Your worst nightmare, right? You knew this was going to happen. Okay. Same verbiage on a text message. They cancel. Just say, oh, send. Is everything okay? Send. Bubbles, they're typing. It's not you, it's me. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to pull up your record. Send. Last time just do the same thing. You've got to be willing to make it painful. I'm never going to cancel with them by text message again. It was so annoying. Because if it's easy to do it, what are they going to keep doing?
Do it.
Yeah, they're going to keep canceling it. We make it too easy. And by the way, one thing you didn't hear me say at all is, well, our cancellation policy is if you give us 49 hours or more, we're totally cool with it. We're totally fine with it. But if you're at 48 or less hours notification, we're going to have to charge you. I didn't do any of that. Because all that does is it's like, I don't know, 2 wrongs don't make it right. It's putting bad taste in someone's mouth. They're not going to pay it. They're going to go leave a bad review and talk about how you charge them because their cat got run over and they couldn't make the appointment. Now, do I get rid of patients? Absolutely. You follow this system and you do the oh, not okay conversation 3 times with them, it's time to go. Because there are 3 strikes and you're out. Now, what I would do instead of charging them is I would require them to pay in advance. I'm not getting rid of them. And if they want to pay in advance, they're a great patient and that's their fee to reserve the time. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So what I would say is I'd say, Ricky Bobby, this is the 3rd time that you have canceled your appointment last minute. And I'm not in a position to continue to reserve time for my doctor or my hygienist because people are not getting care. You're not getting care. Other patients aren't getting care. And now, as you know, we block time out just for every single patient. Now we have a provider who can't even see anyone. And so I can't really schedule something in the future for you unless you'd be willing to pay for the appointment in advance to truly show us you're committed to that time. It's $273 for your appointment with the hygienist. Oh, I have insurance. They cover it. Yes, I know. I think that's why you're entitled right now. I think that's what's happening. No, don't say that.
No.
Don't say that part. Don't say that part. By the way, the less money involved for a patient, responsibility wise, the higher the no-show rate. Okay, so Medicaid, Medicare, because they don't pay a premium, has the highest cancellation no-show rate, 55%. PPO, employer paid benefits, or dependents who aren't seeing it come out of their paycheck, higher cancellation rate than the employee even. Now we're at 33%. Cash pay fee for service practices have a much, much lower rate. They have much lower volume, but much lower rate. of cancellation open time. So what you're doing with this patient is you're saying, hey, if you want to keep coming here, we're happy to do that. We just ask that you pay for the appointment ahead of time. That shows us you're committed to the time. If for some reason you have to cancel that appointment again, you will abandon your deposit. What would you like to do? Now, if you're not cool with that, you feel like that's too much, call it the patient training list, the PIT list, and you give them two choices. You say you can prepay or call us on day of only. And if we happen to have availability, we'll get you in that day. If we don't, we'll try another time. But they don't go to bed without prepaying for an appointment. It's day of only. And chances are they just go away. Now, after a certain time, you might need to send a letter saying, hey, 30 days emergency only type thing, right? You might have to officially dismiss them. Maybe you get a call to get their records transferred. You have to track that. So anybody else have something they do that works really well when it comes to getting rid of patients, dismissing them? Okay. Use that if you like, day of or pay in advance. Now, again, you're ready to get rid of them. Only charge people you're ready to get rid of, or, which I'm not a fan of, or only require them to prepay or day of only if you're ready to get rid of them. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes.
All right, awesome. We got 6 whole minutes for Q&A questions. Hey, we're dealing with this and cancellations or something like that. So what are your thoughts? What are your questions? Maybe ideas, something you've done that's worked really well too.
I think what you said, a lot of it sounds fantastic. I used to work at an office that we implemented a lot of these strategies. It was largely more fee for service, and my front desk and my hygienist did talk about this in very similar manners, and we had very low cancellation rates. It wasn't like for the same script, but when somebody called to cancel, it wasn't
Okay.
find a time. It was like, oh, like my officer, oh man, wow, what happened? Not,
Yes. Yes.
oh, nothing
What's
happened.
different now? What's changed?
New office and just so
New teams.
yeah, I just
Yeah. So just
I-
not enough time to train them yet.
well, yeah, and I just I just hadn't really sat back and thought about it.
Yeah.
As
Okay.
far
Of
as what
course.
had
Yeah.
worked, sometimes you
Yeah.
just absolutely spell out to you what had worked, and I mean I was
Yeah.
hearing in my head because like, oh yeah, that's something worked
Yeah.
really.
We're kind of scratching the surface. I'm giving the meat of this topic in an hour, trying to give you as much as I can. You can use this again as a team meeting for sure. It'll be on my YouTube channel. Rochelle will text or email it out to you, the link. If you want, you can email me, eric@allstardentalacademy.com, and I'll send you the link. I mean, we do
Our YouTube page.
say that again.
Visit our YouTube page. We'll get you the
Yeah.
link.
Yeah, Dr. Vieira, we'll have this for you guys as well. We'll have the link there. We'll put everything up there so you can watch this with your team. We want to support you guys in your growth. Okay, that's why we're here. Look, Dr. Vidal and Dr. Vieira aren't listening right now. I know that if you guys are successful, my clients are going to be successful, right? I'm not in this just for you guys. I'm in this for them and for me. So I told them, look, I want your referral sources to be the best trained. You get the best results possible from anything I can teach them. So that's why we're doing this. We know that if we pour into you guys will succeed, and it'll pour into this office. So, all right, Dr. Vidal, Dr. Vera, you can start listening again now.
I was hiding. I actually heard that.
Yeah, I mean, no surprise, right? I mean, we just know this. We know that we want everyone to be successful. There's enough dental patients to go around. We just need to make sure we're all using really good skills. Now, I know in November, we did insurance freedom, and without collusion or anything like that, I'm seeing, I call it dental society by dental society, just getting out of network, just going that route, like I've never seen before. And I will say that Louisville, because there's a dental school, has a very high dental participation rate. And the more you guys who are already on the other side of that can speak to how good it is, I think the better. You don't have to practice that way. And why should you have to? And now if you're passionate about, running people through and doing that style, of course do that. I'm not knocking it that way. But if you don't like that, oh my gosh, so nice on the other side, less stress, less burnout, happier team members, patients are just as happy, insurance is paying. It's a wonderful thing. So I'll just touch on that because I think that's a huge part of how we support one another in a dental community, is knowing well, what should I be doing and what should I be making? And should I be considering being out of network insurance? And do I have friends who are doing this already? And what can I learn from them? And this is like a mastermind group. And so talk about those sorts of things with each other. I think it's important for us to support one another in dentistry in that way. And I think this group is a perfect example of doing that. All right. What else? Other comments or questions?
I was gonna say that insurance room kind of plays nicely into canceling the cancellations. As you're talking about, insurance plays a huge role in, whether or not people are gonna just schedule something so they feel good, that you feel good, that they schedule and they cancel later, and the Medicare and Medicaid patients, but we have one office that is insured, that signs up with insurance, and yeah, you can tell compared to the other offices that don't. There's a big difference. That
Yeah.
office has to be on top of it, because we would have, a lot of cancellations, and we got Connie filling the schedule when that happens, but that's what you get with the
Yeah.
population that is kind of accustomed to insurance.
Perfect example of it's not the doctor, it's not the team, right? Look at what that whole insurance, the cheaper it's perceived to be as a service, the easier it is to move it. Simple as that. If it's easy to reschedule, people reschedule. If it's perceived to be cheap and easier, there'll be more rescheduling. And might be some demographic stuff, but it's mostly just that perception we create in their mind. Okay. What else? Other questions, comments, concerns, ideas? All right. Tons and tons of free content on our podcast and YouTube page. Just look up All Star Dental Academy. Tons of stuff on there. If you want to get a weekly email from me, just send me an email. Say, hey, add me to your list. You'll get a weekly motivational moments video for your Monday morning huddle. It's 3 minutes or less. Talking about these sorts of things to help lead your team and support you. Okay. We're here for you and all that kind of stuff. We'll be in Fort Lauderdale in May, and we'll be in Dallas in October. So for our events, we're just trying to be everywhere for the dental community, whether it's free or you want to go pay for something, doesn't matter. Either way, we're happy to support you. Okay.
What do you mean you're gonna be in these cities? What's that mean?
Yeah. So we'll do our events. So the May annual growth summit is probably 10 different speakers that are renowned in the dental community. So our annual growth summit will be May 16th to the 19th in Fort Lauderdale. And then myself, Dr. Ted Morgan, Dr. David Peer will do a 2-day program. Charlie, you know those guys. We'll do a 2-day program in Dallas in October, which is 2 days of verbal skill training on customer service and case acceptance.
So something you bring your team to?
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Yeah. And sometimes we'll have a doctor come by themselves and give it a test run, kick the tires. But no, it's called team case acceptance training. That's what it's about. So yeah, they're a lot of fun, a lot of hooting and hollering and having a good time.
Great guys. Yeah.
Yeah. Very similar to something you'd experienced in the past, Charlie.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. You can definitely picture it and imagine it. So something that we've been working on for a lot of years. My coaches and mentors have always been there and trained me that way. So the Suzanne Blacks of the world, Paula Harris, Walter Haley, all those people, Ted Morgan, Dave Peer. Now we just have our own kind of version of all those things. And you heard some of that today. So the things that I've created in my own working in the trenches to help teams use that same verbiage to try to really, really simplify getting usage from it. So we're there for you if you want to take your team somewhere, or just start playing videos for them right in your office for free. So
Free is good.
free is good. We're very proud of the content. And I know I say, there's less value in something that's free, of course, right? You don't see the perceived value, but we think that if we provide so much value on the free content, you'll just get so much return on investment. You'll just be thankful. That's all. Be grateful. That's all we're looking for. All right. Awesome. So Dr. Vera, are we doing this again in March?
So we have, not in March, we have our Karen Baker who's coming out we do a big study club in March.
Yep.
And we can look after March.
We have Tuesday, March 26th for a study club.
Uh-oh. We might need to we might need to change that.
Okay, I'll send it to you and Dr. Vidal, and then that'll get the text message thread going to reschedule that.
Eric, don't cancel that date, okay?
Yeah, don't cancel.
I'm not going to cancel it. I'm just going to send it to you and we'll look at it. Because I remember him saying that on our last meeting. So,
That should work, guys, but we'll talk. Thank you, Eric.
all right, I'll send it to you right now. And then you guys let me know. Happy to keep it or move it. All right, guys. If you need anything, just let me know. Happy to help.
All right, great.
Thanks so
Take
much.
care, guys. I have to go get a haircut.
Yeah, looks good now.
See you guys. All right,
See ya.
bye.